Before we dive in, do me one favour. If you're a genuine history buff, a documentary addict, or someone who enjoys tearing apart false narratives to get to the truth, hit that like button and subscribe to History Reborn Alive. It helps this channel survive, and it keeps me bringing you the kind of deep, historically grounded content you won't get from surface-level history videos. Now, let's start with a hook, because what you're about to hear is one of the clearest reminders of why verifying historical claims is a necessary survival skill, not just an academic exercise. For more than 40 years, millions believed in the Piltdown Man, the so-called missing link between humans and apes. Museums displayed it, textbooks cited it, scientists defended it, and all of it, every piece, was fake. It was a human skull mixed with an orangutan jawbone, stained to look ancient. The hoax fooled the brightest minds of the early 20th century because it aligned with what they wanted to be true. That's the trap history hoaxes set. They exploit confidence, assumptions, and shortcuts in research. When you study these hoaxes deeply, you don't just learn what happened. You build instincts that make you harder to deceive today, whether it's on the internet, in politics, or even in your own profession. With that said, let's break down 33 of the wildest historical hoaxes that fooled entire nations, institutions, and sometimes the world. When a forged fossil can lead major institutions astray for decades, it proves that expertise is vulnerable when it becomes complacent. The actionable takeaway for modern researchers is simple: never rely on a single source of verification. If you're analysing a historical claim, cross-check the archaeological evidence, dating methods, and academic debates surrounding it. This three-step verification process can stop you from being swept up by the next big pseudo-historical trend. In 1869, a 10-foot petrified man was unearthed in New York. Tens of thousands paid to see it. It was carved from gypsum and buried as a joke. The hoax teaches one critical skill: follow the financial motive. Any time history is tied to sudden profit, ticket sales, or overnight tourism spikes, question everything. You can apply this by tracking who benefits economically from new discoveries. If the incentives don't align with truth, skepticism is warranted. So, a newspaper once published these so-called observations, claiming there were winged humanoids and even blue unicorns living on the moon. And, believe it or not, readers just accepted every word. These days, the equivalent would be viral misinformation paired with an impressive-looking headline. To defend against this, you should practice a two-step filter. First, analyze the credibility of the publishing institution, and second, see if the claim has been independently reproduced. If not, honestly, it's best to treat it as entertainment, not fact. When Orson Welles performed his 1938 radio broadcast, some listeners actually believed an alien invasion was unfolding in real time. Now, although the level of panic has been exaggerated in hindsight, the incident really revealed how people respond to an authoritative tone when they're under stress. Historians studying conflict or propaganda can apply this lesson by examining how tone, pacing, and perceived authority shape reactions to crisis communication. A forged brass plate, supposedly left by Sir Francis Drake, managed to fool scholars until, well, metallurgical testing finally exposed it. The practical lesson here is that national pride can bias our interpretation. So, when you're researching history, especially military or national origin topics, it's wise to deliberately adopt the opposite perspective for a moment and see if the claim still holds water. For centuries, the Catholic Church relied on this forged imperial decree that supposedly transferred authority from the Roman Empire to the papacy. This teaches a timeless method for analyzing political documents, inspect linguistic style for anachronisms, examine terminology, and compare it with other documents from the same period. Anyone studying government records or colonial treaties can apply this immediately. In 1983, major news outlets authenticated diaries supposedly written by Adolf Hitler. They were fake. Modern historians should use this case to reinforce one procedure, require multiple independent specialists in handwriting, ink dating, and provenance tracing. A single expert opinion is a vulnerability. A multidisciplinary review creates intellectual redundancy. Even after confessions and debunkings, belief continues. The lesson is to separate cultural value from factual accuracy. If you're analyzing folklore, treat the myth as data about human behavior, not evidence of historical events. So, back in 1917, two girls managed to fake photographs of fairies, and honestly, folks believed them because photography was still a pretty new thing. Fast forward to today, and, well, we see the same kind of thing with deepfakes and AI-generated media. The best way to protect ourselves is actually pretty straightforward. Just understand the technology well enough that its limitations are, obvious. Doing this helps modern researchers avoid misinterpreting digital artifacts. Italy actually restored ancient monuments by, inventing what they thought Rome should look like. This is a good reminder to treat any state-sponsored reconstruction with a bit of suspicion. Always cross-compare restoration records with original archaeological surveys to make sure the structure's history wasn't, rewritten for ideology. Although the Shroud of Turin was revered for centuries, scientific testing revealed its medieval origins. The key application here is to always prioritize empirical testing over tradition. Whenever you're working with relics or artifacts, make sure the dating methods are clearly documented, reproducible, and of course, peer-reviewed. Europe spent centuries searching for a non-existent Christian king in Africa and Asia. The takeaway here is to analyze historical motivations before you evaluate the accuracy of sources. When you're studying exploration or diplomacy, always ask what the authors wanted to believe before judging how reliable their accounts actually are. These 33 hoaxes, from forged maps to fabricated kings and manipulated artifacts, all share one theme. Deception thrives where verification fails. The more you train yourself to test claims the way a historian, a survivalist, or a field researcher would, the harder it becomes for modern misinformation to mislead you. If you want more deep dives like this, videos that cut through myths and break down complex history with precision, subscribe to History Reborn Alive. Share this video with fellow enthusiasts and help keep real history alive.